On a fateful night, a desperate call was made, but when authorities arrived, the caller was gone. The search that followed would uncover a trail of clues, leading investigators deep into the woods, where the unthinkable awaited. The case would leave an indelible mark on the officers involved, forever changing their perspective on the darkness that lurks in the shadow. Before diving into the gripping details of this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more exciting content. It was 2:13 a.m. when the 911 dispatcher answered the call. 911, what's your emergency? Static crackled. A woman's breath hitched through the line. He's here, she whispered. Please, you have to hurry. I can see his shadow outside the window. The line cut out. Dispatch traced the signal to a rural stretch of highway leading into gray pine woods, an endless maze of pine, mist, and silence. Officer Mark Holloway was first on the scene. He'd been a cop for 16 years, and he'd heard every kind of panic imaginable. But something about that voice, the tremor, the hollow dread behind it, got under his skin. Her name was Elena Ward, 27, missing since that night. Her car was found abandoned at the forest's edge, headlights still on, driver's door open, phone on the ground beside it. The 911 call had ended 37 seconds before that. At first light, the search began. Dozens of officers combed the woods. No footprints. No torn clothing. Just a faint, metallic smell in the air, like rust or blood. Then they found the trail of symbols carved into trees, spirals, crosses, eyes. A message, maybe, but in no language anyone recognized. Mark followed them deeper into the forest until his radio crackled alive. Holloway, come in. We found something. He followed the coordinates to a small clearing. The others were standing in a half circle, pale and silent. In the center was an old wooden chair, bolted into the earth. A rope dangled loosely from one armrest, and beside it, Elena's jacket, soaked through, though it hadn't rained in days. Pinned to the jacket with a rusted nail was a piece of paper. Only one sentence. I told you not to follow me. That night, Holloway couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the words in his head. Something about them felt directed, not to Elena's killer, but to him. The next morning, he returned to the site alone. The chair was gone. The ground where it had stood looked freshly dug, as if something had been buried, or unearthed. Then his radio crackled again. A faint voice, trembling and distant, Mark, it's me. Don't come any closer. He's... Static swallowed the rest. The signal came from the same coordinates as before. Only now, the GPS showed something impossible. The coordinates were moving. The coordinates pulsed on the screen like a heartbeat. Mark Holloway stared at them, his thumb trembling over the GPS display. The dot, Elena's signal, wasn't just moving. It was circling him. He spun, flashlight slicing through the fog. The forest was suffocatingly still, every tree a dark silhouette watching him breathe. Elena, he called. His voice sounded small. Swallowed. No answer, only the wind shifting through the branches, whispering things that sounded too much like words. Then the radio crackled again. Mark, please. Don't let him see you. The voice was her. No doubt this time. But it came from behind him. He turned fast, light shaking in his hand. Nothing but trees. Except, one of them wasn't quite right. Its bark was carved with fresh marks, long, uneven slashes that formed her name. Elena. Something darted in the dark, too fast, too quiet. His heart hammered. He lifted his gun, his flashlight beam following the rustle of leaves. He caught a glimpse of movement, a figure in white darting between trees. Elena, he shouted, breaking into a run. He pushed through the thicket until his flashlight fell on an old hunting cabin. Its windows were black, boarded up from the inside. The air reeked of decay and iron. He hesitated, then forced the door open. Inside, dust, cobwebs, and something worse, a wall covered in photographs. Hundreds of them, overlapping. Every picture was of Elena, from childhood to adulthood, taken from angles that made no sense. Some were shot through windows, others from inside her house. But one photo made his stomach drop. It was of him, standing in his patrol car, staring at his GPS earlier that night. The ink on it was still wet. His flashlight flickered. Then, from the corner of the room, came a soft, broken sob. He turned slowly. There she was, Elena. Pale, shaking, her clothes torn. She looked up at him with eyes that didn't seem fully human anymore. "Mark," she whispered. "You weren't supposed to come." He took a step closer. "Elena, it's okay. You're safe now." Her gaze shifted past him, to the doorway. Her face twisted in horror. "He followed you." Mark spun, gun raised. But there was no one there. Only the open forest and that same metallic smell, thicker now, clinging to his throat. When he turned back to Elena, she was gone. Only a single photograph lay where she'd been sitting. It showed the clearing, the wooden chair back in its place, and in the chair, a man bound by ropes. The caption beneath it read, "Your turn, Officer Holloway." And somewhere, deeper in the woods, a scream began, his own. The scream tore through the forest, echoing back at him in warped, distorted echoes. Holloway clutched his chest, gasping, trying to remember when he had started running, or why his legs wouldn't stop. The wood seemed to shift around him. Every path looked the same. The trees, impossibly tall, leaned closer the farther he went, their trunks groaning like something alive and ancient. He stumbled into the clearing again. The chair was there. Just like in the photo. And this time, someone was sitting in it. Not Elena. It was Deputy Carl Denton, his partner, the one who'd helped organize the first search for Elena a week ago. His head hung low, a rope biting into his wrists. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. "Carl?" Mark whispered, rushing forward. "What the hell, who did this?" Carl's head lifted with effort. His eyes were wild, bloodshot. "You did," he rasped. Mark froze. "What? You brought it back. You let it in. What are you talking about?" Carl's breathing hitched. "It doesn't kill, Mark. It trades." His voice broke into a dry sob. "Someone has to stay." Then a crack split the silence, a branch snapping behind them. Mark spun, gun up, flashlight cutting through the mist. And for the first time, he saw it. The figure from the woods wasn't a man, or not anymore. Its limbs were long, bending wrong, skin mottled with bark and rot. Its face, what was left of it, shifted between shapes, like it was trying to remember what human looked like. And in its hand, it clutched Elena's torn badge, the metal gleaming red in the light. Carl screamed. The creature moved in a blur, impossibly fast, and the air filled with a sound like tearing roots. Mark fired. Once. Twice. The shots vanished into the fog like pebbles into the sea. And then, silence again. When he dared to look up, both Carl and the creature were gone. Only the chair remained. Empty. Waiting. His radio crackled to life once more. Static. Then a voice. "Officer Holloway, this is dispatch. We just received another 911 call." He swallowed hard. "From who?" The line hissed. "Then, Elena Ward. She says she's found you." Mark's flashlight sputtered out. Somewhere in the dark, the chair creaked, as though someone had just sat down. For a moment, Mark Holloway couldn't breathe. The voice on the radio, steady, too calm, echoed in his skull. Elena Ward, she says she's found you. But Elena was gone. He'd seen her vanish into the forest, heard her voice fade into static. The rational part of his mind screamed to leave, to call for backup, to run until the trees were nothing but a memory. But something colder, deeper, made him press the radio to his lips. "This is Officer Holloway," he said. "Patch her through." A long silence followed. Then a faint click. "Mark," came the voice, soft, trembling, alive. "Elena? You shouldn't still be here." His heart pounded. "Where are you? I can bring you back. Just tell me." "It doesn't let anyone leave, Mark." He froze. "It's not a place," she whispered. "It's a door. You opened it when you came looking for me. And now," her voice cracked, "now it wants you to take my place." Static flared. Then, beneath it, he heard something else, breathing. Deep, wet, and close. Mark turned slowly. The forest behind him had gone completely still. No wind. No insects. Just a heavy quiet, thick enough to feel in his teeth. "Elena, what is it?" "Don't turn around," she said. "No matter what you hear." But the sound was already there, a low, dragging scrape, like something pulling itself through leaves. He caught a glimpse of movement in the corner of his eye, a tall shadow, half-formed, half-human. His radio crackled again, but this time, it wasn't Elena. It was his own voice. "Stop running," it said. He dropped the radio, backing toward the trees. The clearing seemed to tilt beneath his feet. He could see the old wooden chair again, closer this time, though he hadn't moved. The carvings on the trees began to glow faintly, symbols pulsing like veins. The spirals, the eyes, they were opening. A whisper filled the woods, dozens of voices layered together, all speaking his name. He stumbled backward, tripped, and hit the ground hard. His flashlight rolled away, beam spinning wildly until it landed on something half buried in the dirt. A badge. His badge. And above it, an open grave. Inside, a body. His face staring up from the earth. His radio crackled one last time. "Mark?" Elena's voice was barely a breath now. "You see it, don't you?" He couldn't answer. "Then you know," she whispered. "You never left the woods." The line went dead. And from the darkness above the grave, a hand, his own hand, reached down to pull him in. The soil was cold, wet, and heavy as it closed around him. Mark Holloway tried to scream, but the earth filled his mouth, his lungs, his thoughts. Darkness pressed in until he could no longer tell whether he was buried or floating. And then, silence. No air. No pain. Just a strange, weightless quiet. He opened his eyes. The woods were still there, but wrong. Every tree leaned in the same direction, as if bowing toward something unseen. The sky glowed a dull amber, and the air hummed like it was alive. There were no stars. No moon. Only shapes moving slowly between the trees, whispering words that felt like they were meant for him. He stood, brushing dirt from his uniform. It came off in gray flakes that left stains like ash. "Mark?" The voice came from behind him. He turned, and there was Elena. She looked exactly as she had before. Pale, trembling, eyes wide with that same impossible sadness. "You shouldn't have followed me," she said softly. "I told you it doesn't let go." "Where are we?" he asked, his voice hollow. She hesitated. "It's the reflection. The woods on the other side. Everything that dies here, stays here." Mark swallowed hard. "Then we're dead?" "Not yet," she whispered. "But you will be, if it chooses you." Something shifted in the distance, a tree trunk bending until it cracked, a a sound like bones under pressure. The ground rippled beneath their feet. "Elena," he said. "What is it?" Her gaze flicked toward the deeper dark, where the air shimmered faintly, as if a doorway hung open between the trees. "It's the keeper. It guards the door. It feeds on what we leave behind, our guilt, our fear, our memory." She turned back to him, eyes pleading. "You brought it with you when you came looking for me." Mark's chest tightened. He remembered the night he'd gotten her 911 call, the argument before she disappeared. How he'd ignored her messages for days. How he'd told himself there was no real danger. The shadows around them moved closer. Their shapes were human, but their faces weren't faces at all, just mirrors reflecting his own. "Mark," Elena said, backing away. "Don't let them touch you. They'll make you forget who you are." He reached for her, but his hand passed through her like mist. "Elena." Her form flickered, fading in and out, voice shaking. "It's taking me again. You can't save me this time." He could see the door now, a faint light pulsing through the trees. Shapes were crawling toward it, whispering his name. "Elena, how do I stop it?" She smiled sadly. "You can't stop it, Mark. You can only replace it." He stared at her, horrified. "Replace it? What are you talking about?" The light grew brighter, burning through the fog. The whispering turned into screams, his screams, echoing from 1,000 throats. Elena's eyes met his one last time. "It always needs a keeper." And then she was gone, swallowed by the light. Mark turned toward the glowing door. His reflection waited there, smiling with a mouth that wasn't his. And as he stepped closer, the door began to open, revealing something behind it that looked like the woods, but every tree had a face. And all of them were looking at him. Mark stood before the doorway of light, breath shallow, heart hammering like a warning in his chest. Behind him, the forest whispered his name, hundreds of voices overlapping, all with his voice. He stepped closer. The air shimmered, heavy with the scent of rain and decay. For a moment, he thought he saw faces in the glow, people he'd failed to save over the years, flickering in and out like candlelight. Elena among them. "Mark," she whispered from somewhere inside. "Don't fight it. If you resist, it'll tear you apart." He clenched his fists. "I didn't come here to die." A sound answered him, a low rumble that wasn't quite thunder. The light dimmed, and a figure stepped through. It was him. Or what had once been him. The reflection wore his uniform, his badge, but its eyes were hollow, black wells that seemed to swallow the world. When it spoke, its voice was his own, warped, echoing. "You've been here before," it said. "Every time someone opens the door, the woods take a piece of them. You opened it. Now you finish it." Mark raised his gun, hands trembling. "What are you?" "I'm what's left when you stop running." The ground shook. The faces in the trees began to scream. The light from the doorway stretched, wrapping around Mark like vines made of smoke. He dropped to his knees as memories bled out of him, his badge ceremony, his first case, Elena's laugh, all unraveling like film burning in the projector. The reflection crouched beside him. "Someone must remember," it murmured. "Someone must keep the door closed." Mark's vision blurred. Through the fog, he saw the wooden chair appear again, its ropes coiled neatly, waiting. He understood. The keeper wasn't chosen. It was made. With what strength he had left, Mark looked toward the door. On the other side, he saw Elena, standing free, sunlight breaking through a forest that looked alive again. Her eyes met his. "Go," he whispered. "Don't look back." She shook her head, tears in her eyes. "Mark." She shook her head, tears in her eyes. "Mark." But it was too late. The vines pulled tighter, dragging him toward the chair. His reflection stood beside it now, smiling faintly. Mark's voice trembled. "If I take your place, will they be free?" The reflection tilted its head. "For now." He nodded once. Then sat. The ropes wound around his wrists on their own. The forest sighed, like it had been holding its breath for centuries. Elena screamed his name as the light swallowed everything. And then, silence. When the search team found the clearing weeks later, the woods were calm again. No strange symbols. No sign of Elena or Officer Holloway. Only a single wooden chair at the center of the clearing, untouched by weather or time. And carved into the armrest, 4 new words. "I'm keeping the door." That night, as the wind howled through Grey Pine, the dispatcher received a call from an untraceable number. Static. Then a man's voice, low and steady, "911, what's your emergency?" And in the background, if you listened closely enough, you could still hear the creak of a chair, swaying gently in the dark.